Hi, so I'm Stacy, life coach, educator, author, and energy medicine practitioner and mama of four. Talking about today self-consciousness versus self-awareness. So the other day I had to do something I do not like to create out of fear, because I believe that what is created out of fear creates more fear. But the other day I was conned, and I was basically conned into doing something I should have been doing anyway. What it was I wrote a piece. It was like Facebook saying like, hey, you're about to get deleted for your inactive account. And I don't go on my business page on Facebook a lot. But I'm going to start to now, right? So I should have been doing this thing that all of a sudden I'm getting this message saying, hey, this is meta, like you're about to get kicked off. I write a post trying not to get kicked off. And then, I realized this was a scam. So I felt out of integrity because I wrote something from a space of like urgency and almost from like my head rather than my heart. And I also not just wrote it, I shared it. So I was saying to Chris, like, if I wasn't so self-aware, because I was like reflecting. I don't like when I feel out of integrity in the layers of my reality. So I like things to match up, and it didn't feel like it matched up. And I was wondering if I should do something about this in the external world. And he said, that's not, I don't know what that is, but that's not self-awareness. Maybe that's self-consciousness. And I want to just kind of geek out with you guys about this, because there's a difference. So as a highly self-reflective, empathic person, there is a difference between self-awareness and self-consciousness. And when we are raised by narcissists, you end up basically being a codependent or a narcissist. You are under a microscope to the degree that you cannot even have time for self-awareness. And that renders you almost disembodied. So you walk around kind of people-pleasing, or you become a narcissist yourself, right? So I saw this video the other day that this chick was like, she was just being a bully, and all these people were so patient with her, but she used this defense when they called her a loser for acting how she was acting. She said, I own 4 homes and I have 4 businesses, and I could basically buy all of you out. Like, I am somebody, as if those accolades meant that she wasn't a loser, right? She was acting like trash, and you could see that she's a person who she was trying to narrate how she demanded to be seen, right? But self-consciousness versus self-awareness is I'm aware of my impact. I'm aware of my internal reality. I'm aware of my pulse, my breathing. I'm aware that I'm in here. And self-consciousness is the spotlight on you, above you, essentially, that is that shows you your impact on the world, how the world experiences you, right? So self-awareness would be how I experience the world. Self-consciousness would be how the world experiences me. But you do not have to be insecure to be self-conscious, and vice versa. So a highly self-conscious person without self-awareness is either a codependent or a narcissist, right? A codependent in this woman's situation where I was watching her, I was like, whoa, she's really demanding the narrative be her way here. And it is not. If she had any self-awareness, she wouldn't have behaved like that, because she would see the incongruence in her, how she's actually seen versus how she sees herself, right? So she can't be self-aware. If she was self-aware, it would be too shocking. She'd be paralyzed, right? At this point, it seemed. So I just want to touch here on that there's this really delicate and necessary bridge between self-awareness and self-consciousness. Because if you walk around thinking that you are who you are based on how people experience you, rather than you are who you are based on how you experience, you're in danger, right? And this is this woman trying to be like, look, I have I have these jobs, and I run businesses, and I could own you, basically. I can make you my slave. She's holding out this exterior thing that she wants to be defined by, that if any of those strings become loose, she knows she'll fall, which is a dangerous place to be for somebody, right? That's why, you know, and I work with a lot of people who were raised by narcissists. They don't know how they feel. They're not truly narcissistic themselves. If anything, maybe they're even more egoistic. They don't know how they feel. They are still following the, hey, I have to do what they all do, and I have to, like, you know, be in kind of some like quiet competition with the outer world, and I have to, like, you know, operate my life around how I'm seen rather than operate myself around or in my life. So it is shocking that, you know, I work with people who are in their elder years, some of them, and they still can't tell me how they feel. They still don't know how they feel. And they're not vindictively with prey drive going around narcissistically trying to get people to consume their narrative about them. They're quiet. They don't know who they are in there. That's my work, right? That's where I come in, because everybody does all these things in the exterior, but for who are you doing it for? So you can just show the world and get back at the world. Like, who are you doing that for? If it's not for the you now, right? Because I work also with a lot of people who they do that. They get the thing, they are the thing, they're hyper independent. And then they go like, well, what did I do that for? And what do I also do next? Now that I'm not willing to run on the trajectory of I'm operating this way because I care how I'm seen. When you operate for years based on how you're seen, when you stop interfacing with that atmosphere, you'll crash, because you'll be left with the being that was seen. And that is daunting when you don't know what to do, right? This is when people go, what do I do? You don't know what to do with the being that's seen. You think you have to, like, go out there and be seen to exist in the world again. You don't, right? This is where self-awareness comes in. And a lot of my demographic, they have a lot of self-consciousness and not that much self-awareness. So I just want to have you guys toy with that, because when Chris said to me, like, I don't know what that is, but it's not self-awareness. When I was like, this is out of integrity. Like, should I take down my post, right? Just because the way I felt when I wrote it, which is so bizarre. Like, I know, like, normal people do things when they feel like, you know, certain ways all the time, but I like to feel congruent with what I'm, you know, putting out there in the world, and that didn't feel congruent. So when he said that self-consciousness, it's so interesting that, like, I still can even see, like, I have a judge in my internal mind that will still be hyper vigilant about how you could see me in that way, even though I know that I wouldn't actually be seen that way in the outer world. And that is, I think, probably the, you know, slow remnants of the slowly dying narcissistic introject in my brain, right? So difference between self-awareness and self-consciousness, and catch yourself in it, right? Self-awareness is, I'm here. This is my experience of the world. This is how I experience the world. Self-consciousness is how you perceive, like, and almost identifying. And this is the danger, especially with, like, narcissists, right? Because when you're a codependent, you are afraid of that spotlight because you're probably very insecure, and you being seen makes you collapse, right? When you're like, oh my God, they're seeing me and I'm identifying with the spotlight, so let me get out of the spotlight. Oh my God, it's blinding, right? A narcissist identifies with the spotlight and loves being on the stage with it, right? They're like, oh, this is me, right? I am who these people see me as, because some people see me as this thing, and I'm going to make, as long as I can delude myself into believing that they see me in this way, then I'm fine. They identify as the spotlight above them, which is like self-consciousness, right? Where a more empathic and, like, codependent person might really go like, I am terrified of the spotlight because I'm, you know, I've been under that microscope, and it doesn't make me look good, right? So either way, identifying with the spotlight instead of the self that is within that light, that's when levels don't match up, right? And that's what drives me nuts about my own life, and that's my work, is going like, hey, like, let's make all of the levels match up. It's possible, we can do it, right? So toy with that for a little bit. You can be self-conscious without being insecure. You can be self-aware without being self-conscious. You can be vice versa. So I'm curious about your stories about that and what that brings up for you. I hope you have a great day.